conference of the 2024 Basketball Africa League. The season kicking off, and I think there's great air of excitement just walking around outside and seeing how interested people are. Last minute, finding out where they can go buy the tickets. It's an environment that I am sure we haven't seen as basketball lovers in a very, very long time, if ever. It is the inaugural Kalahari conference. It's a group phase, and my name is Robert Maroa. I'll be taking care of business this morning, and good to see all members of the media here present and other distinguished guests. In fact, let me officially welcome NBA Deputy Commissioner as well as Chief Operating Officer Mark Tatum. Can I just stand in acknowledgement? Also the FIBA Africa President, Anibal Manaf. The NBA Africa CEO, Claire Akamanzi. Let's also give a warm welcome to BAL President, Amadou Gallo-Fall. The President of Basketball South Africa, Sanele Mtiane. BAL as well as NBA Africa leadership that's here present this morning. We welcome you, we welcome members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, lovers of the beautiful game of basketball, good to have you here this morning. It's a sense of pride, I guess, when you get to see the culmination of many, many years, what was ultimately a dream. You can go back over a decade when all of this was being formulated, thought of, and here we sit today, literally on the eve of what will be an incredible weekend of basketball right here in Pretoria. Let me also introduce the NBA Africa CEO, Claire Kamanzi, who's going to officially welcome all of us here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Robert. I'll start with a very important message, which is Happy International Women's Day. Members of the media, distinguished guests, partners in the Africa, FIBA families and BAL families that are here, thank you very much for joining us today. I've been fortunate to interact with the BAL team and attend BAL games in the past in various countries as in my previous life. But I must say, I'm truly thrilled that that the start of the 2024 BAL season is taking place right here in South Africa, the home of NBA Africa. As you may know, I joined the NBA as a CEO less than 2 months ago, and I could not think of a better way to start my tenure with the organization than at the tip of the first ever BAL games here in South Africa. I'm sure you're all as excited as I am. Being here signifies growth, signifies more access to the game, it signifies impact, and I'm very happy to be associated with those. It's going to be an exciting 2 weeks in Pretoria, and it's a great opportunity for the game of basketball, the BAL, and the NBA in South Africa, and of course, the African continent as a whole. On my way here, I did have a chance to stop by and look at the basketball court. I could not be prouder of all the work that went into transforming this venue into a world-class basketball arena. Sunbet Arena is about to become the epicenter of the African basketball, and I hope you can all recognize the potential of this game to help transform the African continent through sports and through the broader economy that the sports industry catalyzes, as well as the impact on communities and lives across the continent. I think that's what we are all here to contribute to. With that, once again, I want to welcome you and also to officially welcome Mark, Amadou, and Anibal back to South Africa. I hope you enjoy your stay here, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting next 2 weeks. Thank you, and see you at the games.
Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you so much for welcoming us and making sure, as a lot of you maybe might not have seen the basketball court that she refers to, and that's simply because of security reasons. Otherwise, the guys have done a great job. They're doing a great job. It is still going to look even quadruple times more when it's all lit up and ready for the games. But people that have traveled the world over and know what these arenas look like, maybe you might not need to travel again, because what it looks like right now is it. It really is. It's the real deal, especially all these specifications when it comes to NBA courts, etc. So great work indeed by everybody that's been involved in putting it together. With those welcoming words, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next speaker. I want to introduce the BAL president, Amadou Galafol, a gentleman that's done more than most as far as basketball on the continent is concerned, for his opening remarks. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, Robert, and good morning all. We are thrilled to welcome all of you to Victoria at the eve of the tip of our fourth basketball season and the first BAL games in South Africa. I'd like to first echo prayer and wishing everyone a very happy International Women's Day. And I look forward to interacting with our fans and stakeholders around the myriad of programs that are underway to celebrate women in sport. I just came back from the Africa office in Sandton, where we kicked off the day with a group of 25 young ladies who are players across South Africa. We have WNBA legend Jewel Lloyd, WNBA legend Paris Matsubwana, who's going to be here also, just to mentoring these young girls, inspiring the next generation as we talk about inspire, empower, and elevate. We started that this morning with incredibly talented young ladies from across South Africa. I want to thank all our partners, distinguished guests, members of the media. Your support has been consistent since we took our study back in 2022. I want to especially thank our foundational partners, the Wonder Development Board, Nike, Jordan Brand, and Wilson, and also our official partners, Afrexim Bank, Castlelight, Hennessy, and Rwanda. As we embark on our fourth season, we are going to continue to build on the momentum and to take our league into even greater heights in terms of establishing the #1 lifestyle brand on the continent that is around sports, basketball in particular, and entertainment. We are looking forward to engaging more fans across Africa and around the world. So starting tomorrow with our Kalahari conference, we will play the first two of a record 48 games, 10 more games than each of the previous season, and across a record 4 countries in 4 iconic cities in Pretoria, Cairo, Dakar, and Kigali. This year's competition is going to be extremely intense as we have 7 out of the 12 teams who are teams that are coming back. And we have also the 2022 runner-up in Petro de Luanda from Angola. Angola, we all know, is one of the powerhouses in basketball. On the continent, we also have 2022 champions, US Monastir from Tunisia. We're welcoming 5 new teams and also 3 new countries into the Basketball Africa League. Those new countries being Burundi, Libya, and the Central African Republic. For our inaugural Kalahari conference tomorrow, we will see the following 4 teams play. The hometown team, the Cape Town Tigers. They are going into their 3rd participation in the BAL. They've made it to the playoffs in Kigali each of the first 2 seasons. And we have a first-time participant in Dinamo Basketball Club from Burundi. We have here also another first-time participant in FAT Union Sport, FIS from Rabat, Morocco. We had a team from Morocco in the first 2 seasons, but it was a different one. This is the FIS is participating for the first time. And as I mentioned earlier, we have Petro Atletico, the one from Angola. Our fans are encouraging fans to really go and grab tickets. We're sold out tomorrow, but I think there's a few left for Sunday. But we are playing 12 games. I think the following games will be next Tuesday on May 12th. We will play the following Thursday on May 14th. Then we will round up on May 16th and 17th for a total of 12 games. The Cape Town Tigers, the home team, will play every game. So we are encouraging everyone to really come join us in this incredible party for basketball, to celebrate basketball's development on the continent. Games can be watched on the NBA app, on bal.nba.com, and also we are going to see this morning announce an array of broadcasters, both public and on pay TV. We will host a series of, we will host fan zones on every game day, and I think that's what Claire was referring to. I will encourage you to see the space. We welcome fans on every game days to come and play basketball, bring their kids, have fun, and be entertained, and then go to the arena to watch some incredible competition from really top players from Africa and from around the world. I'm excited that our BAL Elevate program is back linked into the league. We have some very, very exciting young, talented players who are top NBA prospects now, who will be playing, across the season. So thank you all for your support as we continue our journey to really showcase basketball and what basketball can do across Africa. That will continue to provide opportunities for young people, and that are going to continue to connect young people in communities. Thank you again, and I will now hand it over to the Commissioner for his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amadou. Thank you, Robert, Claire, and Annabelle for being here, and thank all of you for this coverage of the BAL and of our business here in Africa. I also want to wish everyone a happy International Women's Day. It's a very special day, and as Amadou shared, the work that we're doing to promote women's basketball here on this continent, along with our partners in FIBA, is critical work to our future and what we do. The start of this fourth BAL season really marks a significant milestone for us. I remember being in this very arena 6 years ago, and around those games, the third Africa game that we had had at that point, and talking about and announcing the fact that we were actually going to launch a Pan-African basketball league here in Africa. And at the time, we couldn't have imagined that 6 years later, we'd be in our fourth season of the Basketball Africa League in a record number of countries, 4 countries, a record number of games, 48 games being played, and we're playing our very first games here in Pretoria, again, where those third African games were. So in reflecting upon that, it really is remarkable the progress that we've made and will continue to make as we grow the game of basketball, this Basketball Africa League here on this continent. When I think about our role here in South Africa, the growth of basketball here, it really had its origins some 31 years ago when the late Commissioner David Stern made a trip here in 1993 to meet with Nelson Mandela. And the late Commissioner actually brought the Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo and other players and coaches here to meet with Nelson Mandela, and it was the lessons that he talked about, where sports having the power to change the world and to unite people, to change people's lives. Those words really inspired the late commissioner as well as the rest of the organization. And since that time, we've had Basketball Without Borders here with our partners at FIBA for the last 20 years. 15 of those years having Basketball Without Borders right here in South Africa. My friend Amadou Gallo here opened up our office in 2010. That was 14 years ago, and established our headquarters right here in Johannesburg. Our junior NBA program with the Royal Bafokeng has engaged more than 100,000 youth. It's the largest junior NBA program that we have here on the continent. And the fact that we have since held 3 sold-out NBA Africa games here, the most recent one right here in Pretoria. And now that we've opened up 3 new stores in South Africa, NBA stores, in Durban, Johannesburg, and Cape Town as well. So it is remarkable how in that period of time we've seen such tremendous growth in the game of basketball and now the BAL. The BAL adds a critical dimension to what we're trying to do on the continent, which is create that pathway from youth basketball in our junior NBA programs, into our basketball borders programs, into our NBA Academy, and now with the BAL, youth on the continent have an opportunity to be able to go right from the grassroots all the way up to the professional level without leaving their countries, without leaving the continent. And that is a powerful thing to create that pathway, that ecosystem here. With our NBA games now in prime time, here on the continent and here in South Africa, and with the addition of the BAL, we're giving more fans the opportunity to engage with our game. We're seeing more investment in the game of basketball across the continent, which is one of the reasons that we launched this BAL, to create economic opportunity for youth across the continent, and we're seeing that. We're seeing new investments in infrastructure, new investments in the clubs. Amadou talked about the number of new teams, new countries, new clubs that are investing because they want to participate and be a part of this League of Champions in the Basketball Africa League. So we're thrilled for the future growth, we're thrilled for the future impact that the Basketball Africa League and more broadly NBA Africa will have here on the continent.
Thank you very much indeed to NBA Deputy Commissioner and also the Chief Operating Officer, Mark Tatum, for his remarks as well, and talking about just the growth as well as the vision of what the NBA as well as basketball on the continent was all about, and the culmination of what we'll be seeing starting off tomorrow. Very, very well put together there, Mark. The program as it continues, ladies and gentlemen, will take a journey, and I think the last time I was being reminded of a great occasion that happened in Côte d'Ivoire not so long ago, using football, the football fans, bring them closer, basketball fans also in attendance. I really thought, in hindsight, how maybe there should be more of that. Or maybe we don't infuse the two together as often as we do because of the love of the game on the continent, and I think just the opportunities that it provided. So it's with a great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, a man that I last saw, as I say, at the Africa Cup of Nations, but also where the officers are in Côte d'Ivoire, the FIBA Africa President, Hannibal Manav. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mark, Claire, Amadou, and dear member of the media. I'm very excited to be here. I have a special sympathy with South Africa. I'm from Mozambique, a basketball country. And we, in this region of Africa, we want South African basketball to grow because there is a big potential in this country. And the potential in a way that players, many kids are coming here in South Africa for school. So they like basketball, and it's important to have an important basketball country for all of us to develop our game. So this is why it is a pleasure for me to be here in South Africa. I'm excited. South Africa used to host Road to BAL, but for the first time is hosting the one conference of BAL. I hope that this can create a positive impact in South Africa and to have South African play basketball in a very consistent way. So please, South Africa, take this opportunity with your two hands and let's move from conference to the finals. Okay, let's change the paradigm. I don't know that if it's going to be happy or not, but we want finals here, not in Ghana. A big chance to do for us, FIBA, this BAL is one of the main problems that we have. This partnership with NBA is a tremendous success. It's a success because, for two ways, it's a grassroots development. And I would like others to wish a very special Women's Day to all the women. Because for FIBA, women is one of the priorities. So it's very important that the BAL has this capacity. It's the vertex of the pyramid, and today in basketball sports, the vertex is attracting the base. The base is attracted by the vertex. So this is why it's very, very important. So this is grassroots program. But also we have a positive impact of this game. As Amadou and Mark mentioned, our national federations are better organized. Our clubs are better organized. Our referees, by far, they are better than before. And it's interesting that the level of the women referees are better than the men. So this is why we need to keep eyes how can we develop the women's game. But also the impact is in terms of competition. In the last World Cup, our 5 teams there, for the first time, they won at least one game. Never happened this before in the World Cup. And 4 of them, they qualified for the pre-Olympics that is going to be played in next June. All of this is because we get the opportunity for our national federation, for our players to play at a high level through BAL. We are keeping our talent now in Africa, and the level of the national team, we have diaspora players, we have local players, the level is the same because of this competition. So once again, thank you NBA for this partnership, and it's important for you all to understand that this is not just a game, but we're talking of development. We also have a dream to win a medal, and we believe that using this platform, we are going to but again, let me mention about women. I believe that the first World Cup or Olympic medals in basketball will be from a man, but it's okay. It's for us, it's Africa. With pleasure, we see our players, and I would like to mention something in terms of the NBA Africa Academy. Some of these kids now are playing for the national teams, and some of these kids are going to play for Olympics with the age under 20 years old. This is all this program that we have with NBA, that it's creating a very positive impact. So I would like to wish all a very good tournament. Enjoy Africa basketball. Thank you, media, for your support and to help us to promote this beautiful game. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the FIBA Africa President, Hannibal Madam. Thank you so much indeed for those words. To keep it track in terms of time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite you as the members of the media with a show of hands to just put up your hand, identify the media house you represent, and of course your name. The microphone will come through to you as soon as we see that hand. So let's take our first question. I see hand at the back there.
Thanks, Barrow. Mark, this is for you. Just in the grand, sorry, Pina said this about Super Sport. I wanted to find out, just in the grander scheme of things, the importance of bringing BAL, one of the conferences, to South Africa. What it does to basketball, not only in Africa, but the interest that it garners around the world in African basketball.
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. South Africa, as I mentioned to you, is in many ways where the NBA started its journey on the continent here in Africa. And so it's critically important to a place where we have our headquarters for Africa, a place where we've done Basketball Without Borders more times than any other. 15 out of the last 15 Basketball Without Border camps here over the last 20 years. A place where the only place on the continent where we've actually played NBA African games 3 times. So it's critical for us to bring the BAL now here to South Africa for the first time. It symbolizes an expansion of the BAL into this marketplace. Here we are in a beautiful world-class facility in Pretoria to showcase the best players on the continent and the best players in the world. You know, these games will be broadcast in 214 countries and 17 different languages. Right here from Pretoria, from South Africa, and I think that's going to be able to broadcast to the world the influence, the power, the popularity of basketball and basketball athlete to the world right here from South Africa. So it's critical. I think the work that we're doing with our friends at the Basketball South Africa as well, and what my friend Hannibal talked about in terms of the continued investment here in South Africa in basketball to make basketball, at some point the #1 sport here in South Africa and on the continent. We know we have a little ways to go there, but it's events like this and bringing the live game experience to South Africans, and quite frankly more people across the continent to be able to experience that high level of quality competition live. We think that's going to inspire the next generation, and we think and that's why it's so critical for us to be here in South Africa.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Pilasanda. Next question.
Leonardo, ESPN Africa. Question for Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum. Is there a commercial priority for the NBA between creating a financially viable league here in Africa or getting the top talent from Africa to play in the league in the US, the NBA?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of what we're doing here in Africa. One is definitely, and we've been doing this again for the last 20 plus years, is the basketball development and creating that pathway, creating that ecosystem, investing in our grassroots programs with the junior NBA programs, with Basketball Without Borders, now with an academy, and now with the Basketball Africa League, creating that pathway for players, quite frankly, to grow and develop and now be able to play professionally without leaving the continent. And so we think that that's going to, that's one of the priorities that we have here is creating those opportunities for more boys and girls to play the game of basketball. And I think out of that, there will be enormous amounts of talent that come out of that. We're already seeing it in our academy with 30 graduates of our NBA academies now earning Division I scholarships, and most recently, Kaman, it was announced he's going to Duke. An academy player who will be playing in the BAL. People will get to see him, but we've got a couple of top projected draft picks in the NBA draft, and it's amazing the life-changing experience that I think these young men will have and have had as a result of being in our academy. So that's one thing. And then the other part is really on the commercial side is, I think, a big part of why we started the BAL was to create economic opportunity and to really prove that sports can be an economic driver, a creator of jobs. We're already seeing it with investments in infrastructure in places like Rwanda and the development around the BK Arena now. There was just last week an announcement, a groundbreaking for a new arena in Lagos. There's the arena in Senegal where we started playing our BAL games as well. And so I think those sorts of, by being here and by investing in the infrastructure and creating a business around the Basketball Africa League, we're also contributing back to creating jobs and economic opportunity in these communities.
Thank you so much, Mark. And again, just encouraging you all, as you put your hand up, microphone gets there, just to stand up, identify yourself and the question, please.
Okay, my name is Queen Joan. I write for OJB Sports from Nigeria. I have a question for the FIBA Africa President and the BAL President. To commemorate the International Women's Day, I'll take us back to the Africa Women's Basketball League, which the first edition was last December. What were the successes of the AWBL? How do we intend to grow and build on the successes of the AWBL? And again, what are the efforts for FIBA Africa? Or how much effort are they doing to make sure that we don't have challenges from teams, women's teams across Africa? Like in 2022, FIBA Champions Cup for women, we saw the likes of Overdoser Station missing out. They couldn't attend because of funds. So what are the efforts FIBA Africa is doing for the women's team? Then for BAL President, let me talk about the BAL Elevate players now. This is like the third season running, and we're having the BAL Elevate players on the different 12 teams. Don't you think that each of these BAL Elevate players need more time with the 12 teams? Because we find out that most of them can't be a command. They can't be a Nurich Chonche. They can't be a Ruben who can just easily adapt to teams. So don't you think they need a bit of time, even though it's a week training with these teams before they get on courts to play for their different conferences? Thank you.
Right, thanks, Krijan. Not sure who wants to grab the first one.
Yes, thank you. As I told you, women basketball is our top priority. So we decided we have a plan to create a league, but also we need to understand that the conditions to create a woman league are not the same of men's league. We have some cultural problems. We have countries that they are not exactly playing basketball. So all of these we need to pay attention to create this league. But today, what we are doing is we started already to support the women's teams directly. We did this last club championship in Alexandria. We support the teams. We gave them opportunity to bring more foreign players because the quality is attracting the investors. So this is why we need also to have more money, okay? And this is why we brought all of this on the table. We have decided also to create to touch in some technical aspects. Now it is compulsory a women national team to have at least staff coach, at least one must be woman. In the past, we have just men as coach, coaching the teams, but today, one of the three coaches must be a woman. And I'm happy because Nigeria was Africa champion last year, coached by a woman. So it means that we, as a man, we need to give opportunity to the women because they can perform well. Also, in terms of referees, we are training a lot of women referees. So, at the end of the day, what we are doing is to prepare all these stakeholders that are involved in women for the day that we decided that now is exactly time for women. We are able to play specifically in clubs in a high level. I think that I don't have, of course, time is a process, this, but definitely we are investing in basketball. And this men competition, okay, is supporting women in basketball because we want to give to them the same opportunity.
Thanks, President. So the question that had to do with the efforts that's been put in so that there are no further challenges as far as FIBA is concerned. The second question about the challenges, what effort has been put in so that there is no experience of previous challenges that have been witnessed before?
Yes. At the end of the day, what we are doing is exactly to create a system, okay, that we have a guarantee that every year we will have a women competition. He's right, because before, after COVID, we didn't start to play women clubs, okay? But now there is no more this risk because, as explained, in the last year, we covered some costs of competition. We are going to give also some incentive to the women to play, how can I say, for them to participate in the competition. So there is a certain number of incentive for women to create conditions for them to play. One thing that is very important that I didn't mention at the level of infrastructure. We are going in 1 year time to start with one partner and the other partners are involved, are invited to join us. A small venue. We don't need Kigali Arena is good, other arenas are good, but we need small arenas to give opportunities specifically for the youth and the women to play in this arena. And last year in Alexandria was very interesting. We played the final of women's club in an arena with a maximum of 2,000 people, and it was fantastic. So this arena are very important to give them opportunity to play and to develop the game. So all of these are part of our development, and we believe that we will have women play. We want to make basketball the first women's sport in Africa, and we believe that we will achieve.
But again, just for the interest of time, that if there are any further questions, that we keep it to one question so we can spread it around. But the final of the three questions that she touched on was about the third season and highlighting the event players, saying that the event players possibly needing a little bit more time.
Yes, thank you, Robert. And just to add on President Manav's remarks regarding the support of women's basketball, just to remind that the partnership between the NBA and FIBA is around how we can support FIBA and national federations to invest in grassroots, in youth development, youth basketball, and also the women's game. And this is something that we are also committed to continue to work with FIBA to make sure we elevate the women's game. Regarding the elevate players, these are the top 12 players at the NBA Academy Africa. They come from all over Africa receiving world-class training, and we are fortunate to be able to create a link between the NBA Africa and the NBA teams. So the players that are assigned, we definitely acknowledge that the teams have always wanted for these players to get to them, for more time. I just want to remind you, these are student athletes. They also have academic responsibilities. They're going to school while playing. We've gotten better in terms of, just allowing those players who are further along in their academic courses, because some may have completed their coursework and going into next year they will be going to attend college. Those players, we help them get to the teams earlier. Again, it's a work in progress. We're just going into the fourth season of the league, but this is something that we are very, very much paying attention to.
Thanks, Amadou. Let's take another question.
Thanks, Rob. Greetings, everyone. Just a quick one. In a continent, my name is Neto Shemane from the SABC. In a continent that comprises 54 nations, what are the plans to extend the number of participants in the BAL season from 12 to a bigger number? Rob, if you allow me, I just want to squeeze a quick one again. With the juniors program at the Royal Bafokeng, how many of these juniors programs do we have across the continent, so that when there's progress, it does not come in patches from one side of the continent and others suffer? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Expansion, 54 nations. Any plan for the extension?
So that's a question we've been getting from day one, but definitely there is interest and there is intent also from our side to expand the footprint. Every year we look to innovate. Every year we look to grow the footprint, both from the number of countries that are participating and growing the fan base. Ultimately, we are looking to bring as many people into the Basketball Africa League as possible. But it is also extremely important that we, don't skip steps, that we are, methodical in terms of continuing to perfect the model, to build this blueprint. We feel that 12 teams is the right number, and also as the infrastructure grow, and as club basketball in different countries grow, this is why I was saying we work with FIBA to make sure that local leagues are more competitive, because we are a league of champions, so the stronger the different local leagues are, the better our league is going to be. Right now we're going to spend time continuing to invest in grassroots, continuing to make sure that young players have that access to the game, have an opportunity to train and integrate clubs in their respective countries, and then the expansion is going to come. We are contemplating it. This is something we are studying, but it has to be the right model. We don't want to just increase the numbers because there is demand, because there is tremendous demand. If we wanted to have a league of 24 teams next season, we probably have it. But this is something that we are constantly working on. Regarding the
junior program.
The junior program. I think to date we have over 15 junior NBA leagues across the African continent. The Royal Bafokeng program was that first one, and as Mark talked about it, I think it was launched in 2011. Now you have, when we talk about 100,000 young people impacted, that is both those playing, those now interested in the game, coaches that we know, some people are now colleagues working with us at NBA Africa who were players in that league, coached in that league, and now they are spreading the word and the knowledge knowledge and the expertise they've garnered across the continent. There's a really organic opportunity here we have to grow the sport. We see it, we have, like I say, in this program, when we talk about building the ecosystem, we need coaches, we need referees, and these are starting to come from programs that we started here many years ago.
Just also to add something related to this. BAL is the final, but there is a process to be final. What we call road to BAL. Road to BAL are teams that play to qualify for BAL. All of this process, we have more or less 35 countries playing, which is very, very important. One of the challenges that I mentioned, so we don't need just to think what is BAL, but we need also to protect the road to BAL to be, let me say, second division of BAL. Because on BAL, what we need are the top teams, the best team. Okay, but there is a process to be done. It was mentioned in the problem of infrastructure. One of the teams that is going to play here, the team from Burundi, there is no indoor facility in Burundi. They qualify, playing outdoor. Sometimes the game start rain, they stop, but they are here playing. This is very important to mention this, and also to mention that every year we have new countries playing BAL and new teams playing BAL. So this is also, this for us is too much important like BAL, and we need to protect this road to BAL because this is where we have quality and capacity. Just to finalize, the National League, for the first time, you see, we have national leagues hiring players from the United States, because everybody now wants to play BAL. Okay, this is just.
That's a great point, and exactly, maybe when you talk about those 54 countries, in effect, all 54 countries have an opportunity to participate in the BAL through the road to the BAL, as you talked about. FIBA organizes these zonal qualifiers. You've seen it here in November. Actually, this is where the team from Burundi qualified, and then the other team was City Fighters from Uganda, and then the Cape Town Tigers. There were other teams from Madagascar that were here, and they really just tell that there's no small country. Despite what I like about what he's talking about in Burundi, also there's no indoor gym. Those guys show up in a big way. You know, there was talent on the court, and that's a team that's going to be very exciting to watch here. So just to say that we are excited to have Burundi as a new country in the league, we're excited to have Libya as a new country in the league, we are excited to have Central African Republic as a new country in the league. Because that's traditionally the basketball powerhouse that doesn't have also the facilities, and hopefully the excitement of the league is going to inspire government and public sectors to want to continue to invest in building these infrastructures in their respective countries.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you so much indeed. We're going to start wrapping it up, so there's a choice. A question for an individual, or one individual takes two questions. So I don't know how many people want to still ask a question, so two. So a question each, please, we've got to stick to that time. I don't know where the microphone is. Sure, thanks. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, good morning. My question goes to President. Apologies. My name is Garabo Mulishani from Tax FM. My question goes to Deputy Commissioner Tatum and President Ford. An important aspect of the NBA is, of course, the NBA draft. Basically, we're bringing in the next best thing into the NBA. I'm just curious, how is the BAL planning on bringing in the next best thing into the league? How are teams planning on scouting the next new players and bringing them into the squads?
I'll start and then I'll pass it on to Mark. I think our process we started with is elevate players in terms of young prospects. We established the NBA Academy back in 2017, I believe. We have a network of scouts across the continent, and most of these people, they grew up within the ecosystem that we created around basketball in our borders. That was launched in 2003. Some of these scouts were players in that camp. You know, we have the head of basketball operations for NBA Africa, Frank Traore, here was a camper in 2003, and the first basketball was our border. So there is this organic, process that we've established on the continent to help identify talent on the court, but also those people who are going to identify the talent and those people who are going to develop that talent. That's with the Elevate program. We also host a combine. The combine, we invite players, top players from all around the world, from across Africa and the G League, from Canada, most of the African diaspora. The way our league, we structure our rosters. Each team, and now we took to this year, distributed every team out of a 12-man roster. We had 8 players that are local and 4 that could come from anywhere, from outside of that country. And out of those 4, 2 have to come from other African countries, and 2 players can come from anywhere else. Now we've increased the number of players that could come from outside of that country. This is to account for the tremendous amount of talent we have across the African diaspora, whether they're in North America, whether they're in the UK or France, in Australia. We've had players now coming from all across the African diaspora. At our combine that we hosted this year in Rabat, Morocco, in early January, we had players who came in from Toronto, Canada. They came from, Norway. They came from Paris, UK. They came from, the Bahamas, but playing in the US. So that's really, the combine is our platform to attract talent, and then our teams come to observe and recruit. And there are a number of players that you will see in their rosters this season that attended that combine. We did the combine last year in Paris, around the NBA game that's hosted in Paris in January. So the combine is going to be our vehicle, just like the NBA has a combine every year in Chicago, where the top talent from across universities and international are invited to go through interviews, to go through testing, different physical tests, and interviews with general managers. That's the same process we're using. We are fortunate to be able to tap into the NBA's best-in-class expertise in terms of operating, running sports professionally. So that's our process.
And the only thing I would add there is, I think increasingly the BAL will be a place where it will produce and is producing NBA talent. There are future top draft picks in this BAL season 4 competition right now, and I think you'll see a lot of those players going forward being drafted into the NBA. So, but it starts with that pipeline that Amadou talked about in terms of recruiting talent now to come into the BAL, and I think eventually the very best of those players will end up being drafted into the NBA.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Amadou. Going to take a final question.
Hello, Josephine Jacquet for TV5 Monde. We've been talking about the need to develop coaches. So my question was, how does the NBA play a role, or intends to play a role in training coaches in Africa, and more specifically in South Africa?
For sure. It's a big part of being able to develop players is you need the right coaching. And so since the BAL started 4 seasons ago, we've had several programs to engage with the teams, with the coaches, with our coaches. I know that Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr, so many of our NBA coaches have spent time with the BAL coaches. We actually have a program where BAL coaches have come to Las Vegas in the Summer League and have the opportunity to participate in coaching clinics and programs there. So it's a big part of the development of what we do, not just with the players, but the coaching staffs as well. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think definitely that program is the flagship program. We sent 27 coaches, 28 coaches from 17 different countries to NBA teams participating in the summer league. They were there for more than 3 weeks. They would go first start in the home teams during their training camp for summer league, and then move to Las Vegas, where they are fully embedded in the team. They participate in a meeting. Whether we had a young lady who was a representative of Uganda who was with the San Antonio Spurs. They would sit in coaches' meetings with Greg Popovich and all the Spurs staff, whether it's Quinn Snyder at the Atlanta Hawks, Mike Brown at the Toronto Raptors, with the Sacramento Kings. Mike coached the Nigerian national team. And the good thing about the NBA is that these coaches, no matter how big a name they always love to share. They love to share. That's really the mentality we want to see in Africa, where, the knowledge doesn't have to be supported, it doesn't have to be just for the very few people, right? This is why we are open and want to export as many people as possible to what we're looking to do. Because you need coaches, you need thousands, millions of coaches if you want to get this game where it needs to get. We were in summer league at Las Vegas. Everybody know Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski. He actually hosted our 28 coaches for dinner. And you should have seen him, you should have believe it. Because he was there, so accessible, so humble, so willing to share. And that's the mindset that we need to have across Africa. And not just for coaching, but also we have programs to develop capacity around everything that has to do with operating a professional league. We have people who will be talking, when Mark was talking about how Coach Popovich, Steve Kerr, Mike Brown, during the pandemic, we hosted these BAL seminars where we had people who are experts in ticket sales, people who are experts in social media and how to engage a fan base, came to talk to people across Africa in the teams about how to do that. That's the next step. As we develop coaches, we want to also develop professionals in the other areas. We have a workshop that we do for sports writers, right? That we are hosting, around this Kalahari conference. We have colleagues or your colleagues from the US who are big writers of the NBA who are here, who are going to support this Mark Spears. I don't know if he's in the room. And we intend to do this in every market that we go. Talking about women's again, we have this part of our BAL for her. We sent 6 young ladies on a mentorship program in the US. They interned with the Boston Celtics, with Alison Pfister, who is an executive with the Boston Celtics. People like Swin Cash, former players with the New Orleans Pelicans, Krista Chill at the NBPA, and there was another young lady that was at the Washington Wizards working with the assistant GM there. So we're looking to really elevate everything we're doing on the continent and expose as many young people as possible to all the different jobs that exist that are going to help sustain the ambitions we have for this league.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, and thank you. This brings to an end the executive part of the press conference, ladies and gentlemen. And before you guys leave the stage, I want to ask Claire to please join on stage as well, just for an official photo for the photographic media. That would love an opportunity as well to take a photo, and then we'll move on to the next stage of the press conference. So I'm going to ask everyone not to leave the room. There is a second portion to the press conference, but this concludes the executive portion of it.
No, we're not giving, we're moving. We're moving on the side. We're going to give it. Yeah.